Not only this is one of the best performing ETFs, but also is one of the oldest ETF for Yieldmax ETFs. So in this video, we're going to explore NVDY distribution, current yield right now, and also the history of its dividends distribution. And we'll look at the graph, what has performance it has, and also the last thing I'm going to show you is the comparison between NVDY itself versus the NVIDIA stock. And that's the sad part about this story. NVDY, this is a Yieldmax NVIDIA option income strategy ETF, and distribution rate right now is 103.73, and 30-day SEC yield is 3.53. We look at the distribution history here. This ETF, as I said, is one of the oldest Yieldmax ETFs, and it's been paying dividends since June 8th, 2023. And the first dividend was very little, was only like 74 cents. Then it did increase, and then in October of that year, it did cut a little bit. It went 63, and then it went down to 41. I mentioned all those videos. I made a video about these distributions. Whenever there's increase or cut, I've made a lot of video about the NVDY, and we can see within between October to December, they didn't pay as much. It was significant dividend, but it was a little cut from where it paid previous month. And when this year, actually, from January, it did pay 63, and then also in February, it did pay 153. That was significant increase, but it just killed it this month of March. The payment was on March 7th. That paid $2.63. That translates to over 100% yield. So it's a pretty good dividend increase. We look at a fund overview for people who don't know this and they want to buy. You look at fund overview. Yieldmax NVIDIA option income strategy is an active managed fund that seeks to generate monthly income by selling and writing cover call options on NVIDIA stock itself. And the strategy that it follows is it's something we call a synthetic cover call writing. Investment objective of this fund, of course, is to seek current income, and secondary investment objective of this fund is to have exposure to a share price of NVIDIA. But of course, it does not write, it does not own stock or NVIDIA stock itself directly, rather than just synthetically. But you don't have to worry about those type of strategies. It's a strategy that you need to know. But if you want to know more about that synthetic, I made a video. If you look at my first NVIDIA, NVDY video I made, I explain what it is. We look at the fund information. The full name is Yieldmax NVIDIA, option income strategy ETF. Ticker symbol is NVDY. So just make sure when you buy you NVDY versus NVDA, which will be the NVIDIA stock itself. Inception, when the fund came to the market, was May 10th, 2023. So it's been around for less than a year, but almost a year now. Primary exchange, of course, is traded on New York Stock Exchange. We look at the gross expense ratio at the moment is 0.99. This aligned with all the other Yieldmax ETFs. They're just less than 1%. We look at the net asset value right now. It has a 351 million that is invested, that this fund itself is holding, which is a significant. We look at NAV, net asset value right now is 30 and 33 cents. That's pretty much the price of NVIDIA itself. We look at the share outstanding. It has over 11 million shares. Premium discount right now is 6%, 0.06. Because the price right now, it has closing price was 30.31, but when you look at the NAV is 30.33. So very significant 2 cents there, and that's of course is usually the difference between the price of the stock itself versus the net asset value is usually because of what you're paying here on expense ratio. We look at the holding. It has 10 holdings. These 10 holdings, they're all, you can see mainly 46% and 46% of these, the United States Treasury, This is Treasury bill and also United States Treasury notes bonds. So it holds a lot of bonds, and this is because this ETF it does right call using a strategy called synthetic. So they have to hold this type of cash that they invest in their coffer just to cover that risk that they have for counterparts. So this is more of collateral, money that they put aside while they're writing call option on those ETF synthetically. So that's why it holds a lot of bonds. And actually, someone asked me why they hold a lot of bonds. Is it a bond fund? No, all Yieldmax ETF hold a lot of bonds, and it's because of that strategy they use synthetic. That's how it works. If we look at the performance chart, we can see here. So within 1 month, NVIDIA has gained about 4%. It's been just going up and up and up. But if we look at the year to date, it has gained about 36%. Year to date, meaning just January of 2024 to March, this fund has gained. That's a significant. So if you invested your money in January, that you'd have gained 40%. That's just performance. This chart does not include all the dividends that the fund or yourself, if you reinvest those dividends, those are not included in this chart. This is just performance chart. So 1 year though, if we look at 1 year, it has gained about 52%. So 1 year meaning from May 11th, 2023 to what it is right now, it has gained about 52%. We can extend all the way to just max, which max meaning from when it was incepted, which was in May last year, to now, March 22, or the closing date of, on Friday, which, was 22. It has gained about 52.85. That's all time, since it was incepted, because it only came to the market about $20, and right now it's 30.31. The sad part to the story of NVIDIA ETF that I want to share with you is this one here. If you look at the NVIDIA itself, it says this is NVIDIA NVDA. This is NVIDIA stock itself, which is also traded on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. Of course, NVDY is traded on New York Stock Exchange, but the exchange doesn't matter. But what we're talking about is the performance. So if you have to invest in NVIDIA, a fund from Yieldmax, which is NVDY versus NVDA, which is a stock itself, a year to date, look at that. NVDA, the stock itself, has returned about 98% since January of this year, where NVIDIA has only returned about 40%, right? So that's kind of sad story. If we look at the max, if we go all the way from May 19, 2023 to now, NVIDIA stock has returned about 100%, versus NVIDIA has returned only about 42%. Again, this does not include all dividends. If you put all the dividends that it has paid back to it, has returned more than that. But all in all, NVIDIA stock, of course, has outperformed massively this ETF. But you know that because Yieldmax ETF has said there's a cap participation on the dividend, and because many people who invest in these ETF, they know they're investing for income rather than actually growth itself. So as long as you know that and you're okay with that, then that's it. One of the main paragraph you really need to understand is this paragraph right here. So the fund's strategy, the funds being NVDY, will cap its potential gains if NVDA shares increase in value. The fund strategy is subject to all potential losses if NVDA shares decreases in value, which may not be offset by income received by the fund. The fund may not be suitable for all investors. So you just have to understand that there's a cap in participation of the gain that NVIDIA stock itself is receiving. And the main thing you're counting on is those dividend that you're receiving or distributions, right? So as long as you're okay with that, then NVDY is a fund for you to invest. Or if you want to just growth, then you can just go by NVDA. So that's it for today. Just make sure you subscribe and like the video if you like this content. Till we meet again in the next video. Bye bye.